Hey everyone, this is the third time of me trying to record this because battery nearly ran out and then the phone was just running out of storage. So I'm going to do this for the third and final time, and if it doesn't work out if this video cuts out whilst I'm talking, then blame the phone. I'm playing. How you guys doing? This is of course myself, yours truly. You can talking to you all about myself and just getting into the crux of what this episode. We're going to talk more about the motivations behind writing Drax and getting into what the book's actually really all about, and getting into the finer details of all of that too. So as some of you may already know, Drax is a crime thriller that's currently selling on Amazon, doing well. I'm really, really proud of this, by selling this independently by myself, doing this with no major sponsor or publisher or anything like that. This is all done off my own back that I did a couple of years ago now. Back in 2017, it says that I published this. So there was a process, there were circumstances that led into me writing this book, and I actually go into that detail in the previous episode where I'm talking about the writing process. If I remember, I'm going to leave a link in the description box so that you can actually refer to that episode for you guys to listen in and check that one out. But on this episode, I'm going to get into the final details about my book, going into that. But before we begin, of course, I'd like to remind you all that I also get into fashion as well. If you go on the website, www.blaquefalcon.co.uk, goodness, I'm trying to remember my own website, you will see a range of t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, a lot like this one, all on sale for men and women, all unisex, of course, for you guys to check out and shop to your heart's content. The whole push of this is, of course, just to push quality, fine garments that's going to be all comfortable for you to upgrade yourself, for more so for casual purposes, so that you can be at home, you put your hoodie on and then you enjoy it, or if you want to go out and hang out with your friends. Look, clothes like this you can use for multiple occasions, but ultimately that's what my clothing was made for. It's really just to push a timeless design, simple logo, nothing that's screaming in your face. Yeah, so check out the website, it's all there for you, and let's get started. So what is Drax all about? So the main motivation behind Drax came from, of course, whilst I was writing, I wasn't very happy. I wasn't in a good place, and I literally just used my notepad, and I got a really, really cheap pen and just started writing out my feelings about life and society. And then that manifested into a book that actually had a plot with some characters and, of course, beginning, middle, and an end. That is the short version of it, but if you want the long version of that, you can check out the previous video in which I'm actually talking about the entire process, on everything that was circling around my life at the time. So check that video out. Drax itself is a crime thriller about a young man who comes out of university, a lot like where I was when I wrote this book, and he has presumably everything. He has a cool social life, he has cool friends, well, at least he thinks he does. He has a really good looking girlfriend, and something happened to him and his friends earlier on that year in the summer. Something happened, and you don't actually find that out, what that is, until later on in the story. This video is going to be very, very difficult to talk about for the next 15 odd minutes because I don't want to give anything away, but I'm going to give this a go. So So yes, something happened to him and to my main character protagonist. His name is Luke. Something happened to him in the summer, and you don't find out what that is later on in the story. But to get to the present day, Luke has a good, comfortable job working for a company called T&P Limited, Turnbull and Partners Limited, over in London by Baker Street. If you're not from London, you should know that Baker Street is not far from Mayfair, which is one of the grandest, richest parts of the whole city, where all the rich and famous and people who think they're rich and famous like to hang out and spend some time, especially on Thursday, Friday nights. So that's the scenario. He's got a really, really good London job, good corporate job. He's comfortable. His best friend, his father actually runs the company, and he's just come out of uni. He went through what him and his friends went through in the summer, and now here he is, working as a planning junior, working for this property developer in London. So this is where he is, and whilst he's here, he begins to question a few things. He realizes that things aren't what they seem. Okay, I have a girlfriend, but she's not communicating with me as much as she used to. I have my best friend, but he's acting kind of strange and weird, and he's beginning to get on my nerves kind of vibe. I'm sure you'd understand where I'm coming from. So that's what happens. Now, without me giving too much away, I'm just gonna spend the next couple of minutes talking about what actually drives the motivation behind all of this. So before he knows it, out of nowhere, his girlfriend dumps him. Why does he dump him? You don't know. You may get into that towards the end of the book, but his girlfriend dumps him. And after that, he goes into a tangent. He's obviously devastated. Oh, boo-hoo, my girlfriend's left me. And then he goes into a bender, gets into a poker game at a local pub in East London, Shoreditch to be precise. And then he plays a very, very bad game of poker. I mean, he plays horribly bad. And then he realizes that the owner of the poker game is actually a local gangster, who he actually doesn't believe initially is a local gangster, but it is a local gangster. And that's where the story actually commences and goes. It goes from there. He's now on a journey to basically pay off this gambling debt, and it's now down to him to solve it. So the questions I'm actually asking the protagonist, and ultimately the reader, yourself, hopefully, is what does one do when someone who's put in a normal position is now in a very difficult position, in an extreme, extenuating circumstance? How do you manage that? How do you weave through the challenges and the hurdles that come through you? So that's what the story deals with. That is the primary theme and motivation behind the book, that kind of just gets you wanting to read and find out a little bit more about it. The other thing, what you should also know, is that there's also a parallel storyline to this too, which I will not get into it, because I just want you to just get out there and read it, because that will pretty much spoil the whole thing. But there is a parallel storyline along with it that actually ties and interweaves within each other, and you'll find that out when you read it. So what drove me to write the book? Well, I think I've already touched on it earlier. Check out the previous video. But ultimately, a lot like my main character Luke, I was questioning reality at the time. I was questioning why I was going to, why and how did I graduate from university, and I'm not really impressed with the results of what I've seen as a result of my efforts in university. I was in the exact same position, so I just used this book to essentially just articulate that feeling and that experience. about doing all those things. So you'll get that in the book. What you'll also get is my raw and honest description about the fallacy about on modern day society, about how we were taught that you were supposed to do X and you will get Y, but you've done X but you get B, for example. So that's what I delve into. I get into that, and it was a very, very healthy outlet for me to express myself and to get my points across healthily. It was kind of a coping mechanism for me to getting this done. So that's how I did it, and that's why I did it. How did I write this? It came about once I got into the flow of the story, the plot, the characters, what was happening. I realized that my routine at the time changed. I'd actually left the job that I wasn't very much happy with at the time. And well, no, I was asked to leave because it was on an apprenticeship. But what then transpired after that was actually a flow as to how I can write this book. So it would tend to be super early in the morning. I'd just wake up at stupid o'clock, 4 a.m, get up and just start writing. Now, whoa, that's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, but you know, if you want to do something incredible in life, you got to do incredible things, and that's what I ended up doing. So I'm very, very proud of myself for doing it. Sorry for the background noise. It was very warm in here, and of course the iPhone was heating up too. So that was it. You know, I'd write a chapter a week, I think, literally just writing in a notepad. I didn't type anything down, just writing it down, and I ended up having like 5-6 notebooks of just notes of me writing down what was happening in each of the storyline, well, what was happening with each of the characters within my plot and storyline. So I'd write that, and that was good fun, because there'd always be that drive, that bit of excitement inside of me every time I realized that there was something new that was manifesting from this book. I'm actually writing a story with characters that are living in my head that I'm writing in my book, and this feels amazing. So it ended up becoming really, really fun. I didn't count the days, I didn't count the hours. Of course I didn't, because I even to this day, back then I didn't sign a publishing deal, and I still haven't signed a publishing deal today. I'm just addressing you face to face right here through the screen. Of course, when you do have that publishing deal, I understand that you do get like a time period, and then you get paid in advance, which all sounds nice. But I like the fact that I've had creative free reign on my effort here. So excellent. I'm really, really proud of myself of this. What category is this? Well, if you haven't guessed it already, it's crime thriller. But it's also very much a drama. I delve into topics that I feel were pertinent and very important back when I wrote it, and still very pertinent and very important as I speak to you right now, at today or in 2024. Still very important, still very relevant. It deals with some of the things that I dealt with: anxiety, how to overcome that, self-identity, how I overcame that. But I put the details as to how I dealt with it on the book through my characters, but I do it in such a fashion that it's still entertaining enough for you to read. You can relate to what you're reading on the pages or screen if you get it on ebook. So that's exactly what I did. I put all of that on paper for you to just read, to relate, to understand, to appreciate, and to see yourself within the characters as well, because I've reread Drax multiple times, and every time I read it, I learn something new about myself, and I've learned something new about the book that I may not have clocked or realized whilst I was writing, which is incredible thinking about it, considering that I wrote it and I've got the piles of notepads full of my notes proving that it was me that wrote those things. So what was going through my head when I wrote those things, you know? So interesting, very, very interesting how you learn a lot about yourself by committing to a craft that you know is right for you. You become the knower, not the thinker. When you start knowing things, that's when things start to move. Mountains start to step aside. You end up splitting oceans like Moses did the Red Sea, biblically, of course. You know, you start learning about yourself, and when you learn about yourself, that's when things start opening up. But anyway, I can go on a completely different tangent for another episode. So the other themes I deal with is how modern day men actually put up with dating, and not going to get in too much into that, because there's more than enough guys out here on YouTube talking about what dating is like and the game and all that stuff. And some of that content I was actually reading in preparation for this, just to see if my own viewpoints were accurate enough to modern, well, not modern guys, but the average guy on the street. So turns out it was, which is great. So yeah, I won't get into that too much here. You'll have to just go out there and read it. But I don't get into this tangent about complaining and stuff. I'm just drawing from my own personal experience about dating, about being in a relationship, etc., and just put it on the book. So that's interesting. That's the interesting part of it, about how art imitates life to a degree, and how I've been able to basically just transmute my own experience and put it onto page for you to see as a form of entertainment, but of course to also relate to it. So it's great. So it's suspenseful, it's intriguing, because by the time you get to the end of the book, you're realizing, whoa, what did I just read? I've read the book a few times and it still hits different towards the end, particularly when I get to the ending as well, about the social diatribe that I describe in that book. So yeah, I'm just immensely proud every time I see it. Every time I see my book on the Amazon app and website. So yeah, get out there and start downloading this book, man. I'm so proud of it. I'm so happy with it. Would I change anything from it? Absolutely not. It's not perfect. You know what book out there is perfect? Be honest. So I'm very, very proud of myself for this. I'm very, very inclined to know what more people say about this book. I've had the majority of the reviews have all been positive. They've all been documented and written on Amazon, but ultimately it's a milestone achievement for myself. I wrote this book when I was in my early 20s, and I was just an emotional young man who just needed to find a healthy outlet to put his emotions on, and I chose to put it on a page, and this is what has manifested from it. The reviews, the majority of them are all positive. They like the way it's written. They like the charisma, or the swag I like to call, of the book, about my style of writing. It's very in your face. The book is also very fast paced. It's not a long book. It's about 250 pages. So if you're a fast reader, you'll get that done in a week, if that. So yeah, get out there, enjoy it, have fun, and I am still immensely so proud, and I can't wait for you guys to read this. It's funny, it's got its moments, it's got some, I've been told it's Luther the TV show mixed in with the In-Betweeners. Now if you're a fan of British television, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Luther, if you don't know, stars Idris Elba, great fantastic TV show that used to come on BBC back in the day, and the In-Betweeners is a comedic classic that used to come on Channel 4 back in the day too. So mixed two, Luther, which was a dark crime thriller, and the In-Betweeners, which was a coming of age story about three young men who struggled to get accepted into society. So I'll let that whiz around in your own imagination. So yeah, get out there, download the book, enjoy it, and have fun. And please leave your reviews. Be honest with your reviews. Don't pull your punches with your reviews. I want you guys to get out there and tell me the truth. Send me an email at info@blaquefalcon.com. That's Blaque, BLAQUE, info@blaquefalcon.com. Send me your reviews. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me from there, or you can reach me on social media as well. Just Kenneth Mwimo on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm the exact same name. So yeah, get out there, enjoy it, and don't forget to get your hoodies. Don't forget to get your t-shirts. I'm your man for all of that. I do all my embroidery at home. So I did this and made this at home. So you've probably seen some of the videos on the YouTube or even on the Instagram as to how I do that. So yeah, get out there and enjoy. Thank you.